how you or the Conservative Party is going to make any sort of progress in eradicating an entire percentage. I think it's just
we're not eradicating people. You're trying to say that because it makes us look crazy.
That's what you're saying.
No, I said I want to eradicate a whole ideology of transgenderism.
Trans people. That is going to be people that you are taking.
Like if I want to eradicate poverty, that doesn't mean I want to kill all the poor people.
I'm not saying
quite the opposite,
I'm not
right?
saying that you want to kill. I'm asking you what your plan, like what in the best case scenario, how are you going to get people to stop being trans?
I think we're going to tell boys that they're not girls,
so we're
that they're
going
boys.
to tell boys that they're not girls, and they're going to listen.
Yeah, basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we've done for most of history.
That happened to me, and I can promise you to God that I didn't listen.
Yeah, well, because we live at a time that is affirming the transgender delusion. But if we lived at a more sensible time, probably you would have listened, and you might have had some. And I think we should just return to a more sensible kind of politics.
But how?
You know, I think it's very fitting that the LGBTQ plus community has decided to call their month Pride Month, because that's exactly what you're going to see, nothing but pride. In this video, Michael Knowles debates someone representing the LGBT plus community, and when you thought the debate was kind of going in favor of that person, Michael Knowles comes up with a crazy rebuttal. It's really shocking. Let's get right into it.
Hello.
Hello. So I think I want to start off by asking you what your solution is to, like, the word eradicating. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, the word literally means to pull up by the root. So not just to have some half measure where you say, you know, okay, we're only going to trans kids after the age of 9, but not under the age of 9. Okay, we're only going to let men who identify as women go into this bathroom, but not that sports team or whatever. I don't think a half measure makes any sense. In fact, I think a lot of the conservative arguments.
You're not answering my question. What's the solution?
Oh, it means to uproot it.
So how do you do that? I want to know how you're going to uproot an entire percentage of people.
I'm not uprooting people. I would return American public law to what it was before roughly 2015.
I don't understand the perspective of how you or the Conservative Party is going to make any sort of progress in eradicating an entire percentage. I think it's just
we're not eradicating people. You're trying to say that because it makes us look crazy.
That's what you're saying.
No, I said I want to eradicate a whole ideology of transgenderism.
Trans people. That is going to be people that you are taking.
Like if I want to eradicate poverty, that doesn't mean I want to kill all the poor people.
I'm not saying
quite the opposite,
I'm not saying that you want to kill. I'm asking you what your plan, like what in the best case scenario, how are you going to get people to stop being trans?
I think we're going to tell boys that they're not girls,
so we're
that they're
going to
boys.
tell boys that they're not girls, and they're going to listen.
Yeah, basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we've done for most of history.
That happened to me, and I can promise you to God that I didn't listen.
Yeah, well, because we live at a time that is affirming the transgender delusion. But if we lived at a more sensible time, probably you would have listened, and you might have had some. And I think we should just return to a more sensible kind of politics.
But how? What is yours? You're not giving a solution on how you would even be capable of doing
something. Yeah, I think I am.
Like
I think we kick the fellas out of the boys' bathroom. We kick the transgender teaching out of schools.
How are you going to do that?
We just enforce the law as it was before 2015.
There was a law prohibiting trans women to go into the women's bathroom, or trans men going into the men's bathroom.
Yeah, it's there in the term women's bathroom.
That's a law.
That's why men can't go in.
That's a law.
Yeah. Yes, there are all sorts of laws against public indecency, for one, against men going into women's sports leagues. There are all sorts of regulations against that, or at least there were until recently. We did not have established in public life transgenderism until very, very recently.
That's not true.
That's
not true. What about the two-spirited people?
What is the two-spirited people?
In the indigenous community.
Aside from the sarcasm and facial expressions and disrespect, Michael Knowles is really handling himself very professionally, very sensibly. His arguments are sound, so this guy brings up the two-spirited people argument, thinking he has Michael Knowles kind of trumped. Let's see.
They are, I don't want to get into semantics, but I know that the fact is that there has always been trans people.
Do you know where the phrase two-spirited came from?
I don't. Please enlighten me.
It came from the 3rd annual Intertribal Native American First Nations Gay and Lesbian Americans Conference in 1990. And the woman who coined that term...
I just don't think that that's true.
It's true. The woman who coined that term admitted... Hold on. Let me just finish my point on this. The woman who coined that term, Maya Laramie, admitted somewhat recently that the term two-spirit came to her in in a dream in 1990. Now, the Ojibwe Nation actually has translated this term.
I just don't.
It's the niche Mani Duwag, but they translated it from the English in 1990.
How you're capable of eradicating an entire percentage of people by setting laws, because people are
you're not. I think you're choosing not to hear what I'm saying, because I'm saying we don't want to eradicate any people. We want to eradicate
in the prompt?
But the other word is transgenderism, which is an ideology, not a group of people.
I am a transgender person. You can't just
you are
skip
a confused
over that
person, but
I'm
you're not,
babe. I'm so secure in myself, and there's other women in this room that are also trans, have been trans for 20 plus years, 7 years, babe, that know exactly what they're doing.
You're confused because it's not possible for a man to become a woman.
How are you capable of looking at somebody without knowing their bodily autonomy, knowing anything that's going on with their medical history, anything?
Because I know,
you know nothing
I know
about
the
me.
basics of human nature.
You know nothing about me.
I know that you're human. And I know a little bit about human nature. And I know that a boy can't become a girl. So that's what I know.
Does anybody want to take over?
You're tapping out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there you have it, folks. That guy ran because his arguments fell flat. They were illogical and emotional, unsensible. You can't argue against biology. Transgenderism is an ideology. It is not a physical thing. You can't change a boy into a girl. You just can't do it biologically. And Michael Knowles did an exceptional job hammering that point, saying human nature, which had him kind of speechless, kind of stumped. Like he didn't know what to say. That is why the T in LGBTQ is one of the easiest ones to debunk, because biology is not on their side. And because it's not on their side, they ooze with pride and defensiveness. And another tactic you will see from people who are against conservative biblical views is they will strawman argue our position. That man tried to say that Michael Knowles was saying eradicate in terms of killing people, when that's not the case at all. He says pluck up at the root, referring to the deeper issues surrounding the transgenderism. It is deeper than just the surface level. So he's talking about dealing with the deeper issues, creating laws, bringing sensibilities back into the norm, creating a new narrative, a new conversation, a broader, more prevailing conversation against this to bring normalcy back to society. But that man tried to misrepresent Michael Knowles by saying he's trying to eradicate transgender people by killing them. That's a tactic they use to try to knock down the argument, to justify their lifestyle, to stay in ultimately stay in their sin. That's a dangerous thing to do, because you're lying, you're deceiving, you're purposely being misleading, causing people to fall and be led astray. And regardless of if people think transgenders existed for millennia, what we see now is a uptick, a increase in this lifestyle because of the conversation and the access people have to the internet. It's creating more delusion, people thinking there's something when they're not. Things have reached a fever pitch. We have to speak out against this, whether it's going on platforms like Jubilee and being a voice of reason in a circle of delusion, or speaking up on your platform, speaking the truth of God's word to this issue, because people need to hear the truth. They need to hear the other side, because as we know, truth sometimes takes longer to get to people, whereas the lie travels very fast. So we got to do our job in speaking the truth. What does the Bible say about this? Deuteronomy 22:5 says, "A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God." While conversations like that aren't shocking, don't be shocked. We live in a fallen world. People are sinful, but we must have compassion for people who are in that lifestyle. Perhaps they are in a delusion and they need the truth, and someone who is loving, sensible, and compassionate, who speaks the truth to them, can bring them out of that lifestyle through prayer and through the preaching of God's word. So be sure to stay compassionate, honor God in your heart, and always have a defense for someone when they ask you a reason for the faith that is within you. These individuals need prayer. All of the ones in the LGBTQ plus community need prayer, regardless of this being called Pride Month. We know pride is the ultimate sin, the sin that got Satan kicked out of heaven, the sin that's drawing many people to hell. We have to fight pride with the gospel and the preaching of God's word. If you enjoyed this video, you want more content like this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video. I'll be back next week with another one. It's Pastor Frederick. This is about a book, and everything I do is about a book. Peace.